source of data and data architecture. What is big data? Some people say that big data is data that is bigger than 5 terabytes. Other group of people say that big data is data that cannot be handled with Excel. So what about you? What do you think? What is big data? Big data was born out of the necessity of data sets growing so large and complex that traditional tools are no longer effective to process this data. Traditionally, we used to apply SQL for relational database for data that can fit in a table. Now with big data, this technology is no longer effective. To deal with big data, we need new technologies. Where all these data are coming from? Today's world is drawn in a sea of data. According to IBM, every day we create 2.5 quintillion bytes of data. So much data that 90% of the data in the world today has been created in the last 2 years. We create videos, text documents, audios, images, and web click streams. Most of these data are coming from diverse sources. And I would like to give you an example of some sources of data. First, we have data from businesses and enterprises. Today's companies increasingly collect massive amounts of data, and it's estimated that 15 out of 17 industry sector has more data than the United States Library of Congress. And the Library of Congress has 235 terabytes of data. We have business data coming from business transactions, from banking transaction like credit card payment. Every transaction we make creating data. We have data also coming from the public, data created by government services, data created in hospital like electronic medical records and medical images. We have also data you create with your cell phone, and especially location data. Another source of data is sensor data. With the rapid growth and the adoption of information-generated technology, such as smart meters. You know, smart meters is the technology used to monitor the consumption of hydro in your house. We have also sensor in cars, what we call telemetry. So insurance company are using telemetry to monitor customer behavior, customer driving behavior. We have a sensor in house for video surveillance, and all these what now we call Internet of Things, like everything connected to the internet. And we also have a social media. Let's take the example of Facebook. Facebook has a billion of users, and it's huge. Now, every time you make a comment, you share videos, images, all these are contributing to the growth of big data. Big data has four characteristics. The first characteristic is volume. The second characteristic, velocity. The third characteristic, variety. And the fourth characteristic is veracity. We call them the four V's of big data. Volume, as I said before, refer to the size of big data. Big data is data that is big in nature. We are talking about terabytes and even petabytes of data. Velocity refers to movement, data that change over time, and we call it streaming data. Examples are high frequency real-time data in the stock market. Another name is electronic trading. Example of streaming data is sensor data and all the data streaming over the Internet of Things. Variety refers to data in different formats. We have three different formats. We have unstructured data, semi-structured data, and structured data. It is estimated that 80% of the world data is in unstructured form. Example of unstructured data are images, videos, text message, voices, sensor data. Veracity refers to the quality of data. Big data can be very messy. That's why it is very important to pay special attention to the quality and the integrity of the data we are collecting. In 2003, Doug Cutting and Mike Caffarella struggled to build a web crawler. They were trying to search and index the entire internet. So they needed a way to distribute the data over multiple machines because there was too much data for one single machine. So what they did, they created Hadoop. Hadoop is an open source Java-based distributed computing platform. And this system use clusters of commodity hardware. It was derived from Google MapReduce and Google File systems. Today, Hadoop has become the de facto processing factor for big data. And the name Hadoop come from is the name of a toy that belonged to the son of Doug Cutting. For most companies, Hadoop was a curiosity, but most internet companies adopted the technology very quickly. Example, in 2008, Facebook revealed that it injected 15 terabytes of a day. It injected 15 terabytes a day into its 2.5 petabyte data warehouse on Hadoop. A Hadoop cluster is designed according to the master-slave principle, and it has three core technologies. The first core technology is the Hadoop distributed file system. The Hadoop distributed file system includes built-in redundancy. What does it mean? If a machine in the cluster failed, the system could continue to work with different copies on another machines. The second core technology is MapReduce. MapReduce is a processing platform for working with distributed data sets. MapReduce provides a way to distribute workloads to nodes in a cluster and collect the results. The third core technology of Hadoop is YARN. YARN stands for Yet Another Resource Negotiator. It was introduced in 2013 by Hadoop team, and since then the adoption of Hadoop has exploded. Industry analyst Forrester predicts that 100% of big companies will adopt Hadoop by this year, by 2017.